Namaste, friends. This is Yogi Anand, and as scheduled, I have come live for the topic mindfulness in Buddha's practices and in Buddha's teachings. So, earlier, I have already spoken about the mindfulness, that the mindfulness is the psychological process of bringing one's bare attention to experiences occurring in the present moment. Mindfulness is very scientific practices for the cultivation of awareness and which is called consciousness in yogic parlance. Buddha used to practice the word Sati. Sati is Pali word. Buddha used to speak in Pali language. That time where Buddha used to live was Bihar, and in that area people used to speak in Pali language. So he selected the local language to speak in. Sanskrit is very rich language, and Vedic language. All the sutras of Vedas or Yoga Sutras are written in Sanskrit language. But Buddha deliberately did not choose Sanskrit, but the local language, which is called Pali. See, all the words, all the sutras of Buddha are written in Pali language. So the term Sati is Pali word, which has resemblance with the word of Sanskrit Smriti. Smriti means the memory. In Ashtanga Yogas, Patanjali's Ashtanga Yogas, the dhyana or meditation comes in the seventh state. Similarly, in Buddha's Ashtanga mark or eightfold noble path, this mindfulness practice, which is called Sati, comes in the seventh stage also. So, before Sati or before mindfulness, there are some other things, other elements which come. First is Samdrishti or Samyak Drishti, or in English this is called right views, right approach. And second is Samyak Sankalp or right mindedness. This is called right resolution or right decision. And third is Samvach, means right speech. Fourth is Samkarmant, means right action. And fifth is Sam Ajivika, Sam Ajiv, or right livelihood. And the sixth is Sam Vyayam or Samyak Vyayam in Sanskrit. And in English, this is called right efforts or right exercises. So in Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga, asana practices or pranayama practices come under this section. Right exercises or right efforts. And the seventh is Samsati or Samyak Smriti in Sanskrit. In English, that is called right mindfulness. And when one practices right mindfulness, one enters into the next stage, which is called Sam Samadhi or Samyak Samadhi or right absorption. So, when you practice right mindfulness or right awareness, you start practicing meditation. Because unless and until you have good concentration, you cannot enter into the meditation state. So mindfulness itself is not meditation, but is the beginning of meditation. And when you practice mindfulness, you are eligible, you qualify for entering into the world of meditation, which is called dhyana in Sanskrit. Buddha also used to use this word dhyana, but in Pali this is called jhana. And the same word, when went into China, that became jhana. And the same term, when went into Japan, that became Zen. So the core, the practice is the same in the yoga as also in the Buddhism or in other sects or in other religions. That is dhyana, that is meditation. And when it travel into different countries, in different languages, it has compulsion to use the same language, same words. But the spirit is the same, only one, that is dhyana. Dhyana means awareness, consciousness. So let us come to the point, to the subject of today's talk, that is mindfulness in Buddha's teaching as Sati or Smriti. So when you sit for meditation or the samadhi, you have to practice mindfulness first. There are many techniques of mindfulness. I usually teach 6 approaches or 6 techniques of mindfulness. Yesterday, I talked about one technique that is called RAIN, R-A-I-N. Yet there are other techniques. I want to mention here an important thing while talking about mindfulness. That is the aspects, the parts of mindfulness or the practices of mindfulness. There are 2 parts, 2 kinds of mindfulness practices. One is called formal and other is called informal. Formal means when you formally sit for meditation, sit for mindfulness practices. When you are formal practices of mindfulness is when you sit, when you absorb, when you practice full absorption, when your body is still like a statue. That is static part of mindfulness. Your body is like a statue, like Buddha. If you look at the Buddha statue, you'll find how peaceful and how static is that. In reality, Buddha also used to be very static, very deep, profound, and slow in his movements. Particularly when he used to sit for the full absorption, that is called formal meditation, he used to be looking like a statue. Not only Buddha, but also his disciples. There were thousands of disciples practicing mindfulness togetherly, but there was pinned of silence, no word, no noise, no movement of the body even. That is called formal meditation or formal mindfulness practice. And other part, which is called informal mindfulness. In informal mindfulness practices, one practices this mindfulness while being in dynamic mode, like walking, like eating, like speaking, like listening, writing, and watching. In any motion in any movement, one practices awareness. In Chan philosophy, in Chan tradition, practitioners practice this mindfulness in practicing martial arts. In martial art practices, a practitioner is very dynamic, extremely dynamic. And during that extremely dynamic state, one has to practice that focus, that awareness. So that is also informal mindfulness practices. While being dynamic, while you are very moving, while you are in speed. So you can practice mindfulness while you are driving the car in speed. While you are running, you can practice mindfulness. So in martial art, one moves very quickly, very fastly, very swiftly. But during that speed, a practitioner is very focused, very mindful and watchful. And a martial artist is very watchful in his moves, though his body moves very quickly in lightning speed. So that is the mindfulness in motion, or the tranquility, or the concentration or awareness in action. This is what is called perfection in action by Lord Krishna. So perfection in action is only due to mindfulness, due to awareness, your focus. In yogic practices, there is one practice which is called Trataka. Trataka is gazing. You gaze your eyesight on the wall and your eyelids don't blink. And if you can stay with your eyes without blinking of your eyelids for 5 minutes, that means you have good concentration, good awareness, and good mindfulness. So Trataka could be a test for you whether you are mindful or not. If your eyelids are blinking very frequently, that means you are weak in mindfulness practices. Your eyelids should not blink very frequently. And this is very challenging for the people who are so-called very dynamic and very hard workers. They can't keep their eyelids without blinking, even for a minute. Then what about for 5 minutes? I had a student from Australia. When I introduced this technique, which is called Trataka, she was very happy. And this technique, this practice was very interesting to her. She was so dynamic, so committed, that in the first day, she practiced for 30 minutes this Trataka without blinking her eyelids. She was so resolute, so powerful. So this is willpower. With willpower, you can develop the practice of mindfulness. And I am telling you, the Trataka or the gauging helps a lot in developing mindfulness, be that formal practices or informal practices. Sati means awareness or focus. The first patriarch of Zen sect or the Chan sect in China, whose name was Bodhidharma, he practiced this mindfulness or this Trataka or wall gazing for 9 years. He used to sit for many hours without blinking of his eyelids. He used to face the wall and his eyebrows little bit raised and eyes fully opened with awareness, with clear mind and without blinking. The story says he got bored he got, disturbed when his eyelids were blinking. So what he did, he just plucked his eyelashes and threw away in the rocks. And people say that the plants of tea were cropped out of those eyelashes. That is why when you drink tea, you don't feel lazy, you don't feel sleepy. That is the mystery. Because the tree is born of the eyelashes of Bodhidharma, a great yogi, a great practitioner of mindfulness, or Sati. So he practiced Trataka, or the concentration, which is an essential element for mindfulness, for 9 years. And throughout the day, his eyelids were not blinking. Even sometimes 24 hours. He used to sit with focused mind. And that is very hard. So if you can practice mindfulness or sati with Trataka practices for 5 minutes every day, that will develop a great concentration in you. And you will be qualified and eligible for the prolonged practices of mindfulness. So begin your mindfulness practices with Trataka for 5 minutes. Then you can close your eyes gently and you can be watchful in your inner world. You can be watchful, attentive, what is happening in your mental world. And you will find that in your mental screen, the different colors of light would be appearing. Sometimes blue, sometimes yellow, sometimes green, sometimes violet, sometimes red. And that color of light reflects the energy within you. You do not visualize. You just allow the universe, you just allow the truth or the existence broadcast whatever energy is awakened in you. You do not visualize. And that would be the real state of your energy. If you watch the blue color, that means your throat chakra is active. If you see the indigo color, that means your third eye chakra is more active. If you see a violet color, that means your crown chakra is active. If you see red color, that means your root chakra is active. And also your likings and disliking of the color reflects your energy level. If you love red color, that means your energy is in the beginning phase. You need to cultivate more energy. You need to transcend more. And that likings of the color show your state, your mental state, and the state of your inner energy. And through mindfulness meditation, you enhance your aura, you enhance your energy. And after Trataka practices, when you close your eyes, and whatever color you see, that is connected with the chakra. Chakra is energy center. You have 7 chakras, 7 major chakras in your body. Not in this physical body, but in your psychic body. And apart from 7, there is next chakra, which is called the crown chakra, that is above crown chakra. That is called spiritual chakra. So, during meditation, you transcend your energy, you take your energy to the higher chakras, and you feel a state of transcendental state of your mind. And your eyes naturally turn upward, and you feel very intoxicated. You feel that your energy is getting accumulated in your crown chakra, and that is anchored by the higher energies. So Sati, or the mindfulness, Buddha used to practice himself, and also he taught to his disciples. So practice this Sati, mindfulness, in your formal practices as also in informal practices. So in the forthcoming workshop of mindfulness, I'll be teaching a lot of techniques. I'll give very highly effective and scientific techniques which could be very useful in your spiritual practices or yoga practices, and that will make you a good practitioner for yourself as also for your students if you are a teacher. So mindfulness is a very vast subject, and the psychologists has selected this subject and has taken this into the mainstream of their therapies for psychic disorders, because mindfulness fights a lot of problems of your body, mind, emotions, and you feel healthier, you feel lighter. So one of the practices of mindfulness is Trataka. Then next is breathings. You focus on breathings, and your breathings become very subtle without sound. And when your breathings become very deep, slow, without sound, and very free, you find that your consciousness has become very focused and unblemished. There is no blemishes. There is no anxiety. There is no stress. There is no hurry and worry into your consciousness. And during that state, the universe appears, the existence broadcasts the mysteries and the most dynamic and highly effective thoughts, mysteries, ideas, the solutions of your problems. So now I'd like to stop my talk about the mindfulness in Buddha's teaching as Sati or Smriti. And if you have any question, you can write here and I can answer them. I don't find anyone who is putting any question. No. Okay, no problem. If you have any question, you can write me down. You can send me in my inbox, and I will take those questions in my next talk when I'll come online, when I'll come live. Okay, friends, now I go offline with just Om chanting once, Om Shanti Mantra. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste.